There we go.
Okay. How do I pronounce your first name?
It's Jake. 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 Yep.
Okay. That's great.
And it's Claudio Gil Araújo.
Claudio Gil.
Araújo.
Yeah, pretty close.
I might need a PhD to get that.
You normally call Gil, but it's Gil.
Gil.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Okay.
I appreciate you doing this such last minute. Thanks for jumping on.
Yeah, sure. I'm pretty happy to do it.
Excellent. And I'm a health writer for U.S. News and World Report, and came across your work that's been very popular lately. This most recent study on balance and longevity, and as a yoga teacher, it really piqued my interest. And I was curious, what made you decide to dig into balance? What made you decide to study balance?
Yeah, let's make a short story for you. Sure. I started in the area for 40 years ago as a physician working in sport and exercise. At the beginning, I started looking for athletes, but later on, I realized that exercise could be healthy for everybody. So I amplify my scope. So in a given day of my working, I can see a lady, 80 years old, just after her first myocardial infarction, and the next patient could be an Olympic athlete, and the third one is just a middle-aged man trying to improve his fitness. So I go out the range. And at the beginning, we start to pay a lot of attention in aerobic fitness, because aerobic fitness is well known as very healthy, to be fit, and so on and so on. But since the beginning, I am married with a PhD in physical education. And so I always been concerned about other aspects of fitness. And we developed one task for flexibility in the late 70s, 80s. As a matter of fact, there is a book in the US called FlexiTask that with the technique that I developed, it was published by Human Kinetics, I think in 2003. If you key Amazon, you'll see our method to evaluate flexibility. But at the same time, in the late 90s, we decided that we would need to have a very simple tool to evaluate musculoskeletal fitness that do not depend on equipment and could be easy, safe, valid. So we thought and asked people to sit on the floor and stand from the floor. And we developed a sitting rising test. The sitting rising test is very simple. I ask people to sit on the floor. We start with 5 points. If you need to put one hand, you lose 1 point. If you put one knee and one hand, you lose 2 points, and so forth. And if you have an imbalance and wobbly, you lose half points. So we have 5 points to sit, 5 points to stand. And so you came with a composite score from 0 to 10. One major advantage, because everybody can understand one score from 0 to 10. If I tell you that your reactive protein C is 0.7, you come to me and say, what about that? Is good or bad? But 0 to 10, everybody understands. If I take 8, I lost 2 points. Why I lost 2 points? And we were able to follow up our patients, and we have a cohort, a comprehensive cohort in Rio de Janeiro, Copacabana. We are located in Copacabana area. And in our clinic, we have seen about 10,000 people from different age. But looking for the older segment of this population, we realized that the sitting rising test could be very valid to predict mortality. So in 2012, we published a paper on that and get a lot of news and Discover, CBS News, Fox News, and so on. Was pretty good. But we realized that to sit on the floor and stand, there are several items on the package. You need to be flexible. You need to be well balanced. You have to have a motor coordination. You should not be obese or over fat. And you have to have a good muscle power. Otherwise, you cannot stand up. So sitting rising test starts as a sort of, I would say, gatekeeper, telling me about your musculoskeletal fitness. But now we are advancing to look if the individual components of a musculoskeletal fitness are also able to predict mortality. So we look for balance, and we test balance in 4 positions. First, stay stable with both feet together, looking in front of you to see if you're getting balance, if you are able to do so. Second step, close your eyes. Third step, open your eyes and put one leg in the back of the other. Try with right or left, depending on what you want, and then change to the other. So we had 4 positions. But looking at the data, we realized that there were so much relevant information in looking for those able to stand 10 seconds with just one leg. Doesn't matter if it's right or left. And then we have been working with several other people from some of the top researchers in the world and from different countries. They said, let's join together to analyze this data. So these people also have a very strong background in statistics and epidemiology, and they are very good writers as well. So we joined, we worked together, it was great. And we had the paper.
Beautiful. So is that the technique you used in the study then, with one foot behind the other?
Yes, exactly. If you look at, do you have the full article with you?
I don't have it in front of me currently, but I do have it.
The figure 2 is the exact position.
Okay.
Because some people, by fun, I think it's interesting. They start to call flamingos test, but not like the flamingos stand one leg out of the other, you know. So perhaps they get the same result if they apply the flamingos test, but I don't know. I just using this special position. Perhaps our position is a little easier than the flamingos one.
Sure. And that's, you know, as a yoga teacher, you know, folks are different people find leverage and balance in different positions. And so, you know, that seems like, how did you decide that position as the test? You know, because I feel like certain folks, is that a better signifier of longevity, that position specifically? Or how'd you go with that?
What I thought, Jake, is because in many situations of your daily living, you have to use one leg to stance in one leg, to jump over the car, to jump on stairs, to go down the stairs. You always are putting your balance in one feet under the other. So, and you know that fall is a major problem when you get older, especially the old people. And balance is something that we start to lose, we found, starting about 45, 50 years old. But you only realize that when you get age. So you miss a lot of opportunities to do yoga, to do balance training for years and years. Because when you really perceive that you fall at home, you are just trying to stand up from your chair, TV chair, and you fall, or anything that happens, you fall. You say, oh, my balance is not good. But having not been good for maybe 20 years, you lost the opportunity to train it before it gets to so low level that you start to fall.
So there's a lot to be said for preventative measures to work on your balance before you hit these later ages in life then.
Yes, correctly. And again, people say, okay, maybe you found out that the people die when they have imbalance because they have falls. Not exactly. Because many of them, as a matter of fact, they not be able to successfully complete the 10 seconds one leg stance, we call 10 falls. What does it mean? Means that this man or this woman is likely to be unfit, and most likely not being physically active, at least enough.
Why is that? Why is that such a signifier, a marker of health, balancing? What mechanism is it, or do you know?
Well, we have some, as I told you, this study was not, I would say, designed as a mechanistic study. It's not a cause effect study. It's just a sort of association that we found. But we perceive that most of the people unable to stand 10 seconds are about the same that failure in the sitting rising test, about those like more diabetes. They have more disease. They tend to be more obese. You know, but even when we control for all these comorbidities, it's still 84% higher risk for those that do not have balance. And I also can speculate something.
Okay.
No, I speculate that it's a sort of snowball, a vicious circle. Okay, I'm not good in balance. I'm not good, so I'm not going for yoga. I'm not going to do well there. Mm. Oh, I'm not going to run to go to aerobics or I would say spinning class. Oh, I'm not good on that, so I'm not going. When you go for the gym club, who is in the weight training room? Those that are strong. Who are the aerobic treadmills and bike? Those are fit in aerobic. Who are in the, I would say, stretching class? The women's more likely, they are very flexible. So people tend to go for where they are doing it well. But this is a wrong approach. Supposing that I receive Usain Bolt at my office. He came to me and asked, Doctor, how can I run faster, 100 meters? I say, okay, I don't know. You are the fastest man in human history. How can I improve you? But if someone that never have been for your yoga class in the first class learns a lot of things. So those that are in poor level can improve a lot. So the same with balance. If you are doing okay, that's okay. But if you are unsuccessful in 10 seconds one leg, it's time to start as soon as possible.
I love that. You know, I see this, I teach mostly men yoga, and they seem to be, maybe because I teach so many men yoga that maybe I'm biased, but you know, especially men who are aging on my radar have, in my experience, just in my own experience, it seems like the men have a more difficult time with balance. Has that been your finding, or is there any
Not really.
correlation?
No, we try to look if there were any different. And as a matter of fact, we split our sample in 5 to 5 years, starting with 40 years old, 41 to 45, 46 to 50, up to 90s. And what we realized, first, there was no major difference between men and women. No significant difference at any age group. Could be before menopause, but after menopause, nothing. We didn't find that. Second, for those 40 years old, it's very rare that they cannot successfully complete 10 seconds. As a matter of fact, the youngest that missing our sample was 38 years old man. But this is a rarity. On the other hand, the oldest that was able to stand 10 seconds in one leg was a woman, 91 years old.
Wow.
So this shows the diversity of a human being, you know? And this is very interesting because when you hit the middle of the age, 51 to 75, you have a lot of discrimination. A very clear-cut message for general population, I would say, if you're younger than 70 years old, you should be able to complete 10 seconds in one leg. If you are not, you are worse than the median subject of your age.
Okay, that's excellent. I love that there's a clear prescription almost to kind of get a sense of where you're at. And do you suggest, how do you suggest folks, you mentioned how folks ought to practice this, now how would you suggest doing this test, or do you suggest do you find more success in your clinical practice with patients if they go to an exercise class that involves balance? Or how do you suggest folks who aren't motivated, or someone who reads your work and says, oh, I've got to start working on my balance, how do you suggest that they start doing that?
Okay, let me make a note of caution. Sometimes people listen to your story or read one paper, newspaper, and say, okay, let me try. Okay, this is a very easy test to do it, likely very safe. But if you are not sure, be close to the wall, have someone close to you, or even be close to one table that you can support if you get unbalanced. I don't want anybody fall on the ground or the floor because they are trying to do something wrong. That's a note of caution, because we apply in our clinic, we are health professionals, we have all the setting to do so. But maybe someone go to the bathroom and try to do this alone without any support and could be not healthy. But after that, what I can tell you, balance is something very easy to include in your daily routine. I suggest 2 exercises. They're easy to remember, easy to include in the routine, and maybe change your balance. First of all, we are going to brush your teeth. 10 seconds in one leg, 10 seconds both legs on the floor, 10 seconds with the other leg. It's time you are changing positions. That's it. Second, you're coming back home before to hold the handle, the door handle. Stay 10 seconds in one foot, 10 seconds both feet, and change 10 seconds the other feet, and then open the house. And you'll be able to train in 2 situations. They are different. Using shoes and barefoot, a different balance strategies.
Very cool. And I love how you tie it in with a habit, like a brush your teeth or touch. You know, I know that's a good way to kind of implement a new healthy routine. And so I love that. Beautiful. And, you know, I know you brought up like in the study, focusing your gaze on one spot. I use this as a yoga teacher. Is there something behind that? And should that spot be directly in your eyesight? And should that spot, how close should that be?
We are about 3 meters, 2.5 meters far. No, it's just to have a reference point. No, sure. Because I don't want someone
look around,
be like this with the hand. Otherwise, I don't like people should stand with the arms aligned to the body. Don't plane. You are not using the flaps to land the plane, you know? If they do that, I end the 10 seconds, say, let's try again without using the flaps.
Cool. Okay, the flaps.
The only correct measure is when they do 10 seconds without using the flaps. Some people sometimes get anxious and they miss it. Or say, okay, just relax. No problem at all. Let's try again. Maybe you try with another leg, but then we return to this leg. That's okay. No rush. But in 1 minute, you finish everything. This is our goal. If you said, what would you like to see as a result of your study? That health practitioners include this as part of their routine. No? Someone come for your yoga class and say, let's just apply one simple test with you. Sit on the floor and stand. Let's see how many points you do. Now try 10 seconds balance. Okay, I have an overall idea of musculoskeletal fitness. And this is very valid for the subject. Many people get really, well, I wasn't able to do so. Why that? No, that is a very strong enforcement to do something. Because when people realize, oh, I don't need to have my blood pressure measured. I'm okay. I don't feel anything. Okay, but try your balance. Wow, I wasn't able to do so. It's more difficult than I thought. Yeah, because you are missing training, my friend. It's time to start. And quickly.
Yes, you know? I love it. You know, I was looking at that sitting test when you sent it to me, and it kind of brings me back to the same kind of question I had with the balancing question. You know, a lot of people have a different injury history, right? Different weaknesses. I know this is what this is kind of exposing, but however, standing up like that with your legs crossed is not easy. I don't think. And as a 36-year-old guy who does yoga every day, you know, is it something with that specific technique again, or is there other tests that folks can do?
I'm going to send you a video that we have on the YouTube, and they show how to do it and so on. No, but the test is very simple for most people, and certainly for your age, most people you'll be able to do 5, 5, 10. likely maybe you have, or you are somewhat overweight for your muscle power, or you have lower flexibility in your ankle and hip.
Okay.
Perhaps this is the issue. Oh, I can tell you, soccer players, very often they cannot stand on the floor alone.
Oh, I played soccer my whole life. Maybe I'm blaming it on soccer then.
Yeah, because they are not used to this movement, you know.
Sure.
And they are somewhat tight.
Yeah.
So that doesn't help too much. But it's interesting because when we're in the high school, you have several disciplines. And to pass for the following year, you have to have a median score in all of them. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So the same with physical fitness. You should be above the median aerobic, flexibility, balance, muscle power, and body composition. You should be well in all the 5. And I can tell you, just 1.5% of our sample passing the 5 simultaneously.
Wow.
Some people, oh, I have run 5 marathons and so on, 40 years old. Okay, let's see your flexibility. Oh, I don't take flexibility training, no? Okay, if you pay 5 minutes in flexibility every day, we improve a lot, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And you have been training 10 hours per week to running. Let's play 5 minutes in flexibility.
I love it. And gosh, what
and there
is
Jake, there is no limit in age to improve. If I receive someone 90 years old and say, oh, my balance is getting bad, okay, we can improve it. I'm not returning for 20 years old, but I can improve it. And another lovely thing, because in our clinic, we see patients coming for exercise program, regular exercise program. Most of them are heart patients, myocardial infarction, stents, bypass surgeries, and so on. But some of them, they pay for their own pocket. They stay there for years and years. The oldest one is with us for 28 years.
Wow.
He has more than 6,000 sessions, exercise sessions with us. He came by after bypass at 51 years old, and now he is 79 years old, and he's still running the treadmill.
Wow.
Oh, so that's a big change. But what do we see? When we start with the individual, his values were below the average for the age group. He improves a little, improves a little, but the opposite was going to happen if he was not exercising. So nowadays, he's about 130% or 140% above the average for his age.
That consistency matters, right?
Sure. No, once, this case is very interesting because once he came to me and said, oh, I'm having some lumbar pain. I said, okay, that's bad, but I give you 3 weeks to recover the lumbar pain in returning to run. Because as a physician, I never saw anybody dying from lumbar pain, but for heart disease, I saw a lot. So please return to run as fast as possible. Let's just put this lumbar pain down and return to run. High intensity exercise is the active matter.
Awesome. And for folks, how frequently should they be challenging themselves with their balance? When you bring up practicing it to find results, to find some progress, would you say at least like once a week?
No, I tell you, the test as we propose and the test in the article is very crude, yes or no. But of course, some subjects will be able to stand for 2 or 3 seconds, other will be able to stand by 5, other will be able to stand by 8, and other will be able to complete. So you can discriminate this better in your own practice if you want. Mm-hmm. Or you can even require more. You have to be 10 seconds in both legs.
Okay.
No? Or if you have someone 30 years old, you can make it more complicated. No? Try to be with the eyes closed. Mm-hmm. Or try to be with the arms like that. Let's make it a little more harder. Or even more complicated. Hold a bag like if you are holding your kids, 10, 20 pounds, and try to do it. Because maybe when you go to the upper floor, taking the baby to sleep, maybe you have to be in one floor and 1 foot.
Sure. Cool. And how many times a week do you think someone to find progress
Well,
every day?
Well, I think if the people could, as I told you, with simple exercise routine, 20 seconds in the brushing the teeth and so on, you can incorporate into every day. You know? But if you are in poor, suppose we are 55 years old, you are unable to do it, you likely need more than that. You need to be in a real balanced training, like a Bozu, like a disc balance, like have a personal trainer or have some PT or professional working with you, or at least to give you some directions how you can improve that. No?
Sure. Do you like that Basu ball for folks working on their balance? Is that pretty good?
Yes, yeah, I think it's a very good device, simple, not expensive, largely available in all gyms. No? And you can make it very simple, very complicated. No? You can even stand in top of your foot if you need. That can make it more difficult. No? Or you can even turn down. No, there are different ways to work. So it's not boring. You can change a lot of ways to do it. No.
Yes.
You don't
Yeah,
need to
I love
repeat. No. Another thing that is very easy to do, and we use with our patients, is standing walking. What's standing walking? Just put a foot like that, and then move here, move here, move here, in the same line, walking like that.
Okay.
No, this is very useful. Also, walk back 3 meters and then walk front 3 meters. Walk back 3 meters, because sometimes you need to do so. You are in the door of an elevator. You are coming in, many people are going out. You have to walk back.
I love how you're tying a lot of these exercises, if not all of them, to day-to-day activity, really practical activities in day-to-day life and functionality.
Yeah, I'm very concerned with that. We have invented several procedures just moving out for musculoskeletal fitness. I published one paper about sexual activity in heart patients. It's a sort of a hot topic because many people are concerned after myocardial infarction, should I be able to do so or not? And the physicians do not have training in sexual at all. So working with another colleague and my daughter, she's a clinical psychologist, PhD on that. So we developed one approach we call ketomy. What I mean ketomy? K as kissing, T as touching, or as oral sex, M as a masturbation, I as intercourse. Depending on the clinical condition of the patient, I say you can start with KIT. Now you can go for keto. You can go for ketom, and now you are ready for ketomy.
That's cool.
After this paper, I was invited twice for the American Congress, American College of Cardiology annual meetings to talk about in a large section with people from Johns Hopkins, Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic. Because and one question that I received from the audience was, when after I stand, a lady can start to return to sexual activity? I said, well, if she's not embarrassing the first day, just start to kissing and touching in the ICU. There's no problem there. Or maybe use a vibrator 5 days, 5 days after that, no problem at all.
So it's, I think your approach is like I said, really hits the practical. Like it really hits the, I like how you lean into this stepwise approach and practical steps towards, an eventual goal there. I love that.
Yeah, if you say coming next in a theater close to you, like what are now our next steps? We are looking for flexibility as a predictor of all-cause mortality, and also we are looking for muscle power. Muscle power is very powerful indicator of survival.
Mm-hmm. I've heard this.
Flexibility, not that much, but if you are very low in flexibility, you have higher mortality. But if you are incredible flexible or medium flexible, doesn't make difference.
Okay.
So you'll be our studies coming next. No?
Awesome. Well, you'll have to let me know when those are published, and we could connect, and I get it out there.
I'll keep your contact in my files, and I'll be pleased to do so. Anything, we also have different things, but this is not very practical for general population. But have you ever had one exercise test? Have you ever performed an exercise test yourself?
Exercise test?
Yeah, like a treadmill, looking HCG and so on. Have you already had?
I have done that post-COVID with like a stress test, but I've not done like hooked up onto monitors and oxygen mask, a VO2 max. I haven't done official tests like that. No.
Yeah, we have worked with VO2 testing for years and years. We have a large experience on that. But we developed one simple measurement that is achieved at 30% of the maximum value. So it's almost a brisk walking for young people. That is very predictor of survival. We use that in our sample. We use the same variable in a finished sample and show that was a predictor of sudden cardiac death and all cardiovascular death. And now, just 2 weeks ago, a paper from Indiana, Ball State University, they use our criteria. I'm a co-author of this paper, and they show that was a predictor of mortality. So I'm always looking for something that we can find in the data that shows relevance. Rather than pursue a maximum exercise testing, just walk on the treadmill with this, incline a little, that's okay. I know if your chance to survive are good or not. It's not interesting.
Sure. It's all, I love that it's all like lifestyle, exercise, things that are no cost to anyone, that are markers of your mortality.
Yeah.
Well,
do you have any further questions, or do you have any things that you would like to ask me?
Yeah. So obviously, you did mention it is important, right, to maybe work on your balance before you hit these later ages in life, right? It's important to establish your balance by practicing it, right? So,
yeah.
And you kind of also brought up, but I just want to confirm, it's helpful to, if you are good at balance already, to find ways to challenge it still.
I would say so. But again, I'm not sure. Supposedly, if I could put you on a scale from 0 to 10 in balance, those unable to succeed will be below 5. Those able to succeed will be above 5. I'm not sure if you change from 9 to 10, you will get any benefit in survival. What does it mean by that? You don't need to be slacklining, walking, to be showing that you have a good balance. Those performing with slackline against those who are unable to perform slackline, do you have any change in mortality? I don't think so.
Interesting. Okay.
So there's an upper point above that. You don't have any benefit of all.
Okay. And for someone who is really struggling with balance and maybe in their late 70s, it's not too late for them to start to work on their balance. And in fact, they really ought to try to implement that in their day-to-day life, because it is a good signifier of your mortality.
Yeah, I do this with my mother-in-law. She's 90. I'm trying to improve her balance. And so far, she never fell.
That's great.
That's great. She's very active.
I love that. And so it's never too late, and you really ought to, especially if it's not a strong point, you really ought to think of doing it. I mean, it might cost you your life according to
Yeah,
your work.
I think this is the most relevant point because you mentioned, because people consider, oh, I'm good on that. Okay, I like to do this. Okay, no problem. If you like to run marathons, I usually run half marathons. Okay, I'm fine with it. But what about your balance? I don't have time to flexibility and balance. No, you should have time for that. Because likely you are not doing well on this. Yes, I'm not good on that. More one reason. You should prioritize that.
And why is, so someone that brings up a question then, because if someone's like relatively fit but not good at balance, why is balance still a marker of mortality, you think?
Well, I think the balance is a very complex issue. Involves eyes, involves vestibular function, involves neuroperception. The information comes from the legs and the arms for your central core, and then how do you handle that? So it could be a marker of something is not going well.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you start to have a subclinical diabetes affecting your neurological system and you even don't know that. Could be a subclinical sign of something is not going well with you.
Interesting. That reminds me, there's been some injuries that I've had from running that I wouldn't have never even known I had until I started balancing. I did some yoga. I'm like, oh, what is that? That's interesting. That's worse than I thought. That's worse than it was in the past. And so it sounds something like similar, like until you try it, there might be something underlying that you don't even realize, right?
Yeah. I think one advantage of challenge your body is it's because you have a chance to learn in advance that something is not going wrong. I don't mean that you need to be hospitalized, should start medication for all life. No, I mean that maybe your lifestyle is not doing well for you. And let me bring some issues for you, just to brainstorm you. Most of you likely are familiar with the concept of most people should do 150 minutes per week of aerobic exercise and so on and so on. I was invited to speak in the World Congress of Cardiology and the European Congress of Cardiology 2019 in Paris. And my lecturer was questioning this concept. Why I'm questioning this concept? Because when I treat a patient with hypertension, I don't give the same medication, the same dosage for everyone. I individualize. So the issue is not how much exercise you do, how much fit you are. And if you are fit, okay, you are doing well. You likely have good genes, you are doing well. But I walk 30 minutes 5 times a week and I still unfit. Okay, you need more. Mm-hmm. Why 150 minutes as a standard? I'm not providing the same meal for everybody.
Right. No, I totally agree with that. Every individual has an individual protocol, I feel, depending, and that could evolve and change, right? I mean,
you have this with your demand that goes for your yoga class. Some easily learn some movement, others take weeks to do so, or maybe even never get it. That's individualization. So if you say everybody should do this, you are not doing well. For some, it will be very easy. For others, it will be very difficult.
Interesting. Okay. And to summarize, your paper, your work on balance, it's a good indicator of your mortality, and it's worth working on. It's worth implementing in your day-to-day life, because it's the stakes are high, it sounds.
Yeah, it's not a judicial sentence. You can appeal and you appeal by training.
Right.
You don't need a lawyer. Just go for the gym. Just go for the balance training,
Right. Yeah. Right. And, as a yoga teacher, I always yoga seems like gives you like you mentioned steps, like there's real practical steps for balancing for folks. Like, you start with one toe on the floor, then lift your foot up, and then maybe hold it for a second, then maybe hold it for two. Yoga, would you say is a good practice to help too for folks?
Of course. There is a folk from India that follow me in the LinkedIn, and he is following my papers, and he sends videos and he posts videos. He's about maybe 75 or 80 years old. Look at me doing 10 seconds. Look at me sitting down and standing on the floor without hands and nothing. He's a yoga master and plant-based diets, and so he's very lifestyle oriented. I think this is actually the way.
Beautiful. Excellent. Well, I've got a lot to work with, and I am not entirely sure if I'll include the sitting test with this article. I might do a separate article. I might, I kind of got to sit down now and process our conversation and
I am glad that
it
has been recorded. So if you don't mind, later send me the link of your record. I would like to have it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, I also offer,
could I put this in my YouTube channel? So we are sharing the information after you prepare your story.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know what I also offer folks is I do, talk to a lot of awesome folks like yourself. And I do offer, if you like, and I could, I put this in an article, but also, I also do a podcast.
Oh, great.
I could put that out here for folks if that's all right with you.
Sure. Let's share everything.
Excellent. Yeah, that's how I feel too. And, most folks I talk to, no one said no, but it's the more information we get out there for folks, the bigger the impact. The more we get the word out, the better.
Are you familiar looking at the website of the journal? The paper was released in June, end of June, 21, something like that, 21st. And then in the 10 days, we had 110,000 downloads of the paper.
Wow. Wow.
And the Altimetric score that captures a number of news outlets and so on that feature the story, over 400 in more than 35 countries.
Well, you're clearly doing impactful work. That's
obvious.
Obvious.
And it's very simple. And people like simple things that solve their problems.
Yes.
As a physician, sometimes I have to deal with very complicated procedures, but I like the simple one.
I think that message is coming around for folks. This is something everyone ought to be able to do and should do, and it's free and it's doable. It's empowering to see that.
Yeah. It has been a pleasure to talk with you, Jake. And if anytime you need something else, I will be pleased to do. I'm sending some links for you. 2 years ago, I think I gave one interview for one blog site in the US called Second 50. Very interesting blog about this sitting rising test. And I thought I comment all the story, how it started and so on. And I put a link to you about dichotomy and also about the cardiorespiratory optimal point. So you have an overall view of the things that I'm doing.
I really, really appreciate how helpful and available you are. And I thank Jonathan Dresner for connecting us. And, if I have a follow-up, is it okay to reach out to you then?
Sure. Always do it.
Beautiful.
Like it.
Okay. I really appreciate your time and enjoy your weekend. And, I'll be in touch here soon.
Bye-bye.
All right. Take care.
Keep going.
All right.